Okay, perfect. So good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Just to let you know, we are going to wait 1-2 minutes more. Okay, so thank you for joining on time. But we still, we still have a low number of attendees from those two signs. So let's wait 1 minute. Ask you for patience to see if someone else will join before we start. Well, I see nobody else is joining, so let's see. Well, I think because then we'll have it's usual, you know, that the final webinar it's much more customized, I would say, depending on how many people will participate. Because of course, 1 week from the deadline, so that is why it's mostly to clarify the final doubts that most of the applicants have before we close. So I believe, well, if we are 5, and I believe 3 are the attendees that would like to get more details, then I think we'll have like almost more like a meeting than the webinar. And actually, well, we have a pool to launch, but I think, Paul, if you can give the speaking rights to all the attendees, and we can maybe make it more more interactive if we are only 5. Then we can start from introducing ourselves, and I will be, of course, the first to go. But please let me know, Paul, if it's possible to give the speaking rights to all the attendees.
Yeah, sure. Actually, yeah, all the attendees should now have the right. So you are muted, but you have now the option to unmute yourself, and you should be heard.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So yeah, as I mentioned, we are very close to the deadline, so probably also that's why you are here. So just a reminder that the deadline is on next Thursday until 5 p.m. And today, well, the idea was, well, as I mentioned, we wanted to make this webinar or this meeting more interactive because, yeah, some of you probably know already some basics. So that is why, if we are 5, what I would like to suggest that, well, I'll present myself, and later I would like each of you maybe to tell us, you know, what is your expectation for this webinar. So are you here to ask for some tips? You have some, or if you have some direct questions, or you would like us to you would like to to get the basic information. Okay, so I'm sure I don't see the list of the attendees, but maybe we can, if someone would like to start after me, then please be ready. So yeah, to start with, I'm Izabela Zrazinska. I'll be leading this webinar meeting, and I'm a senior project manager at Funding Box. Funding Box is leading the open call in the WeldGalaxy project, and I'm involved in this European initiative since a long time. I was coordinating also another robotics project. I'm also engaged in the photonics or AI-related technologies. So you can also check my LinkedIn and connect to me for the future options. And also about the Funding Box, just to let you know that we are one of the largest European deep tech ecosystems. So our goal through these open calls and for the participation in such European initiatives like WeldGalaxy is to connect the deep tech, the technology, to the industry, to the market, and corporates and investors. And we call it Funding Champions deal. Okay, and actually, on top of WeldGalaxy, we have also a lot of funding opportunities like this one, that you can browse through the community that we create. And yeah, that's about me. For the WeldGalaxy, so as you know, the main goal of the WeldGalaxy, it was launched already in 2018. So it's a project that is already, well, we have done more than the middle. And the main goal of this is to create the online platform that is now in its alpha version that will bring together the buyers, so it will become a kind of marketplace for the European welding industry. Okay, so this is like the main goal. And well, the project is created by 11 partners. Some of them have a role directly connected with the creating of the platform, and some of them are more the technical and specialists in the welding, like Lula University or University of Leicester. But of course, what's important and what's the key for the applicants is the TWI, who is the coordinator. It's the Technical Welding Institute, one of the biggest and most renowned institutions for welding, and Funding Box, which I already mentioned. Okay, so these two institutions were mostly engaged in the open call, and also we're engaged in the support program for those that are selected. So with this short introduction, I was wondering if the attendees would like to, if anyone would like to present yourself and maybe tell us if you have any questions that you would like me to cover today, like to explain in more details, so I can actually adapt this webinar. So please, now it's a moment to speak up and to hear what you expect from today's meeting. If there's someone who is not shy, of course. Okay. So I guess that, okay, we have a shy attendees, that's totally fine. Or someone is trying to speak, or?
No, that's probably me. Since I just
okay. Okay. Then if we have a shy, I mean, it's normal. If we have shy attendees, then I would like to launch the poll. Okay, Paul, this will be our interaction, so I can actually get to know if, you know, if I should go through all the details about the open call again, which I can do, or if you would like me to focus more on the tips, or you have some specific questions. So please tick in the pool. We're on the 6, but so it should be quick, I believe.
Yeah, I actually just launched it. So someone has already replied. It's missing one answer. Just a few seconds more. Okay. Well, well, Isa, you'll be pleased with the answer, because it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So basically, so basically, yes.
Okay, good. So we have some total newbies in the WeldGalaxy. We have someone who has already read the but has some doubts, and someone who is finalizing the application. So I guess what we will pass, so you understand that in that case, I will pass briefly through everything and trying to make it interesting to everyone. Okay, so I was also prepared for that option, but you know, I will try to make it interesting, and also to let you know that today, if you have any question, you can write it in the chat directly. So Paul will ask me during the webinar, so he will stop me basically. Or if you prefer, you can have it for wait for it for the final. At the end of the webinar, there will be Q&A. But as I mentioned, I really would like to make it interactive, so you can, you know, just write at any point you want in the chat, or you can actually speak up. Okay, so you can cut me when I'm speaking, when there's something interesting that you would like to get more details on. So about so I will continue then with the general introduction. So about the WeldGalaxy platform, here, well, as I mentioned, this is a key for the project, but the goal of why we are organizing open calls, right? If the platform is the main goal of the project, Well, it's because the platform has to be also tested. So we need actually people from the industry, and not only the big players, but also the SMEs that can test the platform. So now it is in the alpha version. So it's already it has already nice interface that you can see here. And of course, those pilots that will be selected will also have a small training, so the presentation about the platform, and you will get in touch with the partner that is leading that part, and they will ask you basically to open the profile and to provide us with your feedback on how it can be improved. Okay, so this is important to see the whole picture of the WeldGalaxy. But of course, you as applying here, your main interest is in the support program that I'll also tell you about later. But let's not forget about the platform, which for the consortium is also a big thing. So the support program, as I mentioned, it's organized by TWI and Funding Box. So from the technical side, you will be assigned to one of the technical experts from TWI, and that person will lead your technological development. You will also, at the beginning, you will also sit with that person and agree on the individual technical mentoring plan. So you need to discuss the KPIs and the milestones that you would like to achieve during the project. And actually here below on the picture, you can see the WeldGalaxy support program. It will last 6 months, and it has short kickoff phase when you work on the individual mentoring plan. Then the longer one, 3 months, it's called implementation, when you actually focus on technology. And then scalability, and that is when you continue developing your technology, but additionally, Funding Box will check your preferences according to from the business side, and will assign you the individual mentor that will also help you to develop what you need. So it could be commercialization, but maybe you want to focus on fundraising, or maybe you are from the start, you're starting and you need to define a business model. Okay, so this is really important also to know that, of course, there is some, but each pilot is is a bit different, and this support, we really try to make the effort to make it customized for each selected pilot. And on top of that, from the technical and business support, then there's also the funding. Okay, so as you can see also from the picture below, the funding is divided in the 3 phases. So in the 3 payments, the first one you receive, and you receive it after each phase, basically. Okay, so this is also important that you do not receive it from the beginning, all the support. This is also a way to see your performance, and these payments are related to this. So if you achieve all the KPIs that you planned with your technical mentor, then these payments will be released. And then, of course, well, you receive the WeldGalaxy platform account, so that's related also to testing. Media exposure and access to private and public investment is related to being a part of such an initiative, a European initiative, and that's also a passion of our goal to promote the results, which will be also the pilots executed. So here, today we do not have with us Geoff from TWI, who's the technical coordinator, and he's usually commenting on these slides, but I didn't want to delete them, just to show you actually that what is offered by TWI from the technical perspective, because I know this brings a lot of attention. So for the laboratories, just to tell you that, of course, this is, well, due to the COVID times, it might be still limited. I mean, the second program will start from September. So let's hope that this will be more developed. But even though I have to say that the first 10 companies that were selected were able to use also the laboratories, of course, it had to be coordinated by sending and some simulations, but yeah, it went well anyway. So so this is one big plus. There are also these experts, so depending on your needs, TW is a big institution, so they can help you with different type of support and experts that they have inside of their institution to guide you through the processes that you're developing. And here also one of the goals is to connect you to the industry. So TWI is a big institution with the membership of different industry players. So also the goal is to try to connect you with them. And the same for funding box within the business mentoring. So if you select, for instance, the commercialization part, and you already identify which sector you want to go with, so we can also try to connect you with someone who's working in that sector to actually adjust your plans for the commercialization. So I would say everything is possible, and we really try to make things available and possible for you. And here, the open call winners, it's worth mentioning that all 10 of these 10 companies, these 10 pilots, have just finished the first batch, first support program in March. And well, they were all very happy. So here, but I believe it's quite useful to have a look on this list. It's also available on the open call website under first open call results. Because it gives you a very good view on like what we are looking for also, because we have several applications in robots, we have several sensors, we have something with AI. So you can see that also the applications where we have also digital twinning solutions. So I would say they were very diverse and very interesting. And yeah, it was a pleasure to have them in this program. So so I also invite you to have a look on their solutions if you plan to apply. And then for who, well, for the scope, you know, it's arc welding. So this is important, that it can be equipment, it can be consumable, or it can be a process, but it has to be applicable to the arc welding. If you're still in doubt, you can still send us a message and we can, you know, reply if this technology that you have is applicable or is eligible. So we received some of these questions, and I believe it's always better to ask, you know, for just to save the time and be sure that this is something that is within the scope. And this is the summary of eligibility. Okay, so there are a few aspects, like a legal status, like a scope that I already commented, also the TRL level, so technology readiness level, and the technological challenges that we have pre-identified and that you have to reply to at least one. So I will pass briefly through them because I see we have different people here available. So from the pilot, you know, you can apply as the single applicant, single company, or as the consortium. Okay, so this is flexible, but you always need to remember that you have to have at least one SME or mid-cap. So if you apply alone, you have to be an SME or mid-cap. If you apply as consortium, you need to have at least one SME or mid-cap partner. So this is very important. And also, in case you apply as consortium, you need to remember that the budget allocated to SME or mid-cap partner should be greater than 60%, okay, of the total budget. So this is important because in this kind of European projects, there is a big focus to support the small medium enterprises. Okay, that's the European vision. So that is why there is this minimum in order to support the companies with this status. And here, I put some questions that we received during the open call, that also maybe you have that doubt. So we were asked a lot if the research and technology organizations can be a part of the consortium. Okay, so here the answer is that they can be the part of the consortium, but under the subcontracting category. So this is important that they can be added there, then they can be delegated one of the tasks, but the main tasks during the pilot should be performed by SMEs and by the consortium. And then we had also another question, if it's possible to exchange partner once you get selected to the program, and here the answer is no. Okay, so you have to be 100%. If you apply as consortium, you have to be sure that you have solid consortium. because it is also part of evaluation, right? So external evaluators will see that there are 2 institutions that apply, and that's also how they will measure the team, okay, and your competences. So if later on it will comes out that one of the partners that you applied with will not be part of that, then you know the evaluation would have to be done again, which is not possible, because that's changed sometimes the concept, okay? The team behind the pilot is very important, so it's not possible to change the partner after you apply. So this is important. And for the legal, yeah, these are only these are the minimums. So if you're not familiar, it's a head count, so how many people are hired in your company, and annual turnover that will be evaluated. And you can see also the limits here and in the guide for applicants. And always remember to also take into consideration if you are a subsidiary of some bigger company or your partner or linked enterprise of some group, this could also influence your status, okay? So this is important. Usually it's taken by the account if the big group or the linked enterprises own more than 25% of your company, then you should really be careful if you still have a status of SME or mid-cap, okay? Because then the headcount of their companies are also count to your status. So that was as a tip. Here are the technological challenges. We sometimes get a question if you have to reply only to one. So the one is the minimum, but you can apply to more. Okay, so if you cover 2 or 3 of these technological challenges, you can also mark them in the application form. But it is important that you reflect on this in the excellence part of the application form. Okay, so always remember, if you mark them, that you will have to prove later to the evaluators in the excellence part that you actually reply to these technological challenges. So it's totally up to you, but I'm always saying that sometimes it's better to focus maybe on one and explain it very well instead of selecting more and have quite a weak explanation. But it is possible to have more. Okay, so this is allowed. The minimum TRL level here, well, between 5 and 7. So technology validated in relevant environment is the minimum, but also you have to remember, well, this maximum TRL level is because actually we also, if you're already market ready and everything is done, then I guess you don't need us that much. So that's why we also have this upper one. And we okay, it's not here, but we received some questions on how much it is expected to raise that TRL during the support program. That's probably something that it's related to the implementation section of the application form. So in general, we expect to raise 1 TRL level, but of course this is not like the formal requirement, but we're just saying that we would like to help you depending on your needs and the resources available to raise 1 TRL more your technology. And that's it for the helpful tips. Of course, remember to submit by the deadline, but I'm always saying to submit it even 1 day before, because later you can edit your application until the deadline. So it's better not to wait with submission in case some error pops out, or you have something that the system will tell you that if something is missing. Better than wait to the last second, and then you will not be able to submit, because you can submit and then you can edit, okay, until 29th 5 p.m. okay, when we close everything, and then it is not allowed to make changes. And then how? So yeah, you should apply for this website here. And the selection process is simple. So first we automatically check your eligibility. So according to the country, and also some of the things that I mentioned before. And then I think what's the most important for you is the expert evaluation. So these are independent experts. So it's also important to know that that these are the experts in the industry that will help you to see the innovation through those proposals we receive, and also to prepare the ranking that will be on the later stage discussed by the consortium. But usually, well, we trust a lot to the experts that we hire. So usually the main selection and the main trust is from the experts. Okay, so that's the most important thing, that you need to know that this will be evaluated by independent experts in May. And then at the end of May, we should be finished with evaluation, and in June you will receive the final feedback together with the experts' comments. And then for the application form, I will just go through those that are scored. So these are excellence, impact, and implementation. And you can also see in guide for applicants, there is a detailed description of what will be evaluated and taken into account with each of these criteria. So in the excellence, first of all, well, what is the technology behind your pilot? But also you have to answer here, it is where you should reflect on this challenge that you decided to select or to reply to. Okay, so in the excellence session, you should reflect on the challenges. And also, once you mark your TRL level, you should also check, you know, that this description that you have actually prove that you have this TRL level. Okay, so so the evaluators will also have to see what you ticked in the multiple choice option, and then if that is reflected in the excellence section. Then connect to this one of technological challenges, and the one that is really like showing that something is outstanding and innovative, so showing the state of art. So if this is a new solution or how it will influence the arc welding section, if it's a novel concept, new product, or it can also bring some novelty to the market. Then we have impact. So this is more sector business oriented. So first of all, you have to show that if it's applicable, this technology or this process is applicable to different industries. So this is actually how you show that this is scalable. Okay, so if you can apply this process in many industries, then better. Okay, it has more impact. And also market potential and competition. So of course, we always say that, you know, well, yeah, it's always good to mention your competition and actually show the your innovativeness and what's better, and than just saying that there's no competition at all, because we know that, well, we live in the very competitive times. So yeah, don't think that this will like really lower the score. I think sometimes you can even make a strong point by showing the competition if you use correct arguments. Your initial business model, so also how do you try to bring that to the market, and also if there exists any like technology transfer between academia and industry. So if there's like a new product generation, you found a new company, or you plan to patent that, this is also important to mention. And we also have these 3 additional impacts like environmental, equal opportunities, and social impact that are standard for European projects. And here, well, I know sometimes, well, in some sectors like welding, I believe it's quite hard to bring up some of the things, but as the example, like for equal opportunities, if you have any status of your company, for instance, also for hiring the female the female staff, or something like this, you can always describe this, because I think it is nice, and this also has an impact. They maybe not directly, but it's always well seen if you have something like this within your company, and also if your solution will improve one of these aspects globally, then also you can describe it. So yeah, here are these questions. So is there an expectation for the final TRL? Okay, sorry, I think this slide I wanted to, okay. So yeah, for the implementation section, here, well, it's the most difficult one, I would say, because you really have to think what will be the pilot about, and you have to plan this 6 months. So there you will see there is the section where you should list the work tasks. So here we got many questions like what level of detail is required when it comes to definition of this project planning. So you will see you're asked to put through the 2 stages, but you have to just to list the main tasks. Okay, you don't have to go into very detail. That will be done if you get accepted in the individual mentoring plan. But you have to like think what will be this main task that will be executed during the pilot. Okay, so we just want to see what is your plan that's even and if it's realistic. And also in the implementation section, there are KPIs that you have to show us like how you want to measure your success. And yeah, if you can also indicate on what will be these KPIs, so we can see if they're ambitious and feasible, then it's also very good. There's also a part about the team, so that's where I mentioned it's yeah, for us it's key to see if you have a balanced team, so people with the experience in the industry and in developing such a technology. So also we ask you to include that detail. And at the end, it's also the budget, which I believe yeah, I have on the next slide. Yeah, where you can see this is also standard for European projects. You have to identify like how much personnel costs, travel costs, and consumables will be used. Okay, and also if you introduce the subcontracting, then that is where you should include, for instance, the recent center that will be involved, that you will delegate one of the tasks to them. And then you sum up and you come up with the total costs, which, as you know, well, the maximum is 100,000 euro per pilot. Okay, so this is the main thing to watch out for the maximum, of course. And within the budget, what's important, of course, we do not enter too much into the details because it's a lump sum project. But of course, if the evaluators will see that you have 90% for travel costs, then for sure they will pay attention for that. But basically, yes, we try to keep the balance and feasible and logical balance for that. And then everything, I think the budget should be okay. So that's for this. I'm not sure if there are any questions because I just go ahead, but if there are any questions about that sections, I'm open for them. I'm sure, Paul, do we have any questions in the chat?
Yeah, so far no questions actually.
Okay, well then I will continue. So, well, the 2 things I thought it might be interesting for you also to know what's happening after the open call. Sometimes we're so focused on the current action that we forget about it. So just to tell you and show you the time frame. So we'll close, of course, next week. Then it will be 1 month of evaluation. Okay, so it's for the external evaluator. We really put an effort that it has to be done well. So by the end of May, we'll have the results, and then we'll send the notification to those that were selected and the feedback to those that haven't. And those selected will enter to the legal check phase. So that is when we check the SME and mid-cap status. So we will ask you for some legal documents to actually verify it, okay, if you have that status. And if that's validated, that I expect it will be done by the end of June, at least, then you will be contacted by TWI, okay, who will sign with you the sub-grant agreement before the program starts. So all the action from the legal check to sub-grant agreement probably will last by the end of August, but I believe it will be earlier. But yeah, that's usually in the holiday time, we might expect some delays. And then those that are selected will be part of the welcome event that will take place at the beginning of September. And of course, we still do not know if it will be online like it was in the first batch, or if we'll be able to meet with all of you in Cambridge, okay, in the TWI headquarters. So that's to be defined. And during that meeting, the idea is to introduce you the project, so tell you everything about the rules, how the milestones will be reviewed, then also to introduce you to the technical mentors from TWI, to explain you the individual mentoring plan and all the documents that you will submit during the project. So yeah, it's the standard introduction for the support program, so everyone are updated and ready to start. And yeah, that's for the after the open call. If you need help, then you know that on the open call website we have we have the guide for applicants, which is I would say a must to read before you apply. Then we have the frequently asked questions, which I believe it's also interesting because we update that document with the questions we receive from applicants. And of course, you can write us an email and ask your question in our help desk, in our community. I think it's here. So we also invite you to join it because we are also sharing there the updates about the project. And there are also two videos from previous webinars. So the first one, I would say, will be quite similar to this one with the introduction. But the second webinar was actually the WeldGalaxy Innovation Day, where on top of presenting the second open call, the first batch winners, so the 10 companies that were selected, also presented their solutions. So I believe it's also interesting to watch them if you have time. And that's all for today. What I have prepared, as I mentioned, we'll left more time for questions. So I open the floor to the attendees.
Yeah, actually, we have a question, so I'm just opening it to be able to fully view it. Just a second. Okay, so Isa, how can we justify our TRL, and is the fact that the TRL has to be included between 5 and 7 means that the technology has always been demonstrated in a relevant environment at least? And is that related, sorry, to the degree of innovation? So maybe there are actually several questions here. The first one is, how can we justify our TRL?
Okay, how we justify your TRL? Yes, so I believe because the TRL 5 is the testing in the relevant environment. So usually these are the technology that is tested inside of the SME or inside of your offices. So basically you have to prove that there is already something ongoing. Okay, that it's not just the idea. And I know it's difficult to do it in writing only, but yeah, you have to try to reflect on that. So better and more details you are able to provide about your technology status, current status, then better the TRL level can be justified. Okay. Then also you can take into account that, of course, that there is the TRL level of the components per each component sometimes of the technology, but we usually advise to focus on the general TRL level of all the solution. Okay, so this is also a tip that I can give for justifying the TRL level.
Okay, so I think that answers mostly the question. Now, is that related to the degree, the level of innovation? I think it's more related to the level of advancement of the innovation. I mean, that question is for you, obviously, Isa.
Yes, no, that's correct. So it doesn't mean TRL lower or higher. It's more for to check the advancement. And the innovation, I would say that the innovation is more view for the competition and from that comparison in the impact section. But yes, and so it's more on it's on market, the innovation, if something like this exists, and also how much applicable is it, right? So it's scalable more than, so it's not, TRL does not directly connect to the innovation. Yeah.
Okay, well, that was the question so far. So if you have any other questions, you can post them in the chat.
Okay, so I'm not sure if there are no more questions, or is someone writing? I don't know if you can see if someone is writing. But then I would say that, of course, if you have any more questions, we are also there for you. So I give you the email of our help desk, which I believe, well, we will reply within 1 day. So this is also in case something pops out in the last minute. And yeah, please don't forget to submit if you are really planning to apply to the open call, because the 1 week.
Okay, Isa, actually we
yeah,
suddenly
we
have
have
a few
question.
questions. Sorry to cut you. So actually, first question being, can we apply from Turkey? And I think the answer to this question is yes.
Yes, Turkey is eligible, yes.
Okay. Is this webinar recorded from Simone? Yes, I'm actually going to be posting this webinar in the WeldGalaxy community that Isa mentioned earlier, and you will receive the notification anyway because I'll send an email to all the attendees of this webinar. And last question from Jehane. So Isa, should we justify that the technology already exists in our SME?
Yeah, justify that technology already exists in your SME. Yes, that it was tested, you know, that you're developing it and you are testing it in your SME. I'm not sure if you will apply with adopter, so with someone that is actually, you know, implementing that technology in their process. Then it's great, right? If you already apply with consortium. If you apply as technology provider, so someone who has the technology, then there is a big chance that you still haven't, you know, tested with someone, right? Or with someone where this technology can be adopted. So that's probably something that if you are testing on the inside of your company, right, in your facility, then it has the TRL, it's a relevant environment, sorry, so this is the TRL5, right? But if you're already testing it with someone, you have some client for it, then it raises the TRL, right? So that's probably worth to mention, right? Because yeah, the TRL level, it's yeah, I know it's difficult and it's not, but this is how European Commission is evaluating the level of the technology readiness. So I believe if you test it in your facility, then it's TRL5, right? According to. But I'm not sure if I answer your questions. I hope yes.
It's yes, you do. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jian. So yeah, you did answer the question, Isa.
Good.
Okay. So this is, I think this is it. We don't have any extra question, Isa. So I believe we can conclude.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I already made the conclusion.
Yeah, true.
So I believe, yeah, good luck to everyone. And as I mentioned, I really invite you to apply. I think the chance is big. And in the second open call, we're selecting more because it was 10 before, and now we're looking for 15. So there is a really big chance that to be selected. Okay, so we invite you to apply. And thank you for your attention. Right, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.